Hi, welcome to another episode of Sea Change Cinema. I'm Abby C. It is amazing to dive into your inbox again this week with another episode of The Cinema. As you know, this is where we come together to talk about the highs and lows, the challenges and blocks, and the absolute beauty that all is wrapped up in the crazy venture of running our own online businesses. I love to share my challenges and my successes with you, and I absolutely adore hearing about yours. So please always get in touch with me, ask me questions, send me messages. I'm here to support you wherever I can. So this week we are going to be talking about the topic of permission. And as grown adults, it might seem like quite a crazy concept that we not only seek permission, but we also have to give ourselves permission in our daily challenges and struggles. So let me explore this concept with you a little bit more. I'm pretty sure you'll understand it, but let's talk about it together. If you're like me, then you will be someone who overthinks things and likes the idea that there is such a thing as perfection or the best. I love to be the best. I love to produce the best work. I love to send the best things out into the world so that the best people will read it and choose to work with me. Okay, this is my head. This is where I work. This is where I live. I know that the best is not an achievable plateau to arrive at. I know that perfectionism is not something, I don't even want to be perfect. So I do know that I put an awful lot of pressure on myself, and you will know this too if you're like me. And the pressure that I put myself under to achieve, really high goals can actually become demotivating and paralyzing in a lot of ways. So I was prompted this week by a woman who I've been coaching with, and she urged me to think about the concept of permission. How much permission do I need to give myself to not send the best work out into the world? Because let me tell you, trying to do the best work takes 3 days. Trying to do good enough work takes half a day. And I know this to be true. So what permission do I need to give myself in order to actually just relax a little bit on my own pressure, self-appointed pressures, and actually still get the work done? And that is a real challenge, because as business owners, especially when we're on our own, especially when we're trying to elbow our way through the competition, of which there is huge amounts, it can be really hard to accept that you're not putting your best work out there. And that in itself is something to give you permission about. Give yourself permission to acknowledge that, and then give yourself permission to let it go. Because getting something out there is so much more important than all of the fiddly bits trying to get the best out there and then missing the mark or not getting out there because you've run out of steam and motivation. Now, if you think that I'm talking from experience, you would be 100% right. I am the queen of procrastination and sunken launches. I know that I want to get my services out there online. I know I want to launch them, but I get in my own way. In fact, I'm so aware of all of this, and I've turned that into my business, where I support other business owners to not fall into the traps that I fall into. So a quick demonstration of that is that this week I had been really wanting to step up my the way that I show up on Instagram, on my Instagram stories, and I really wanted to be able to just jump on lives when I've had an idea or when I've got something to say, so that I can start having more of a conversation with my followers on Instagram. But one of the stories I tell myself is that I cannot do that live because I don't wear makeup. Now, this might sound ridiculous, or you might understand. I've got a feeling you might understand. So I'm not much of a makeup wearer. Obviously, I've got some on today. But I have a skin condition called rosacea, and sometimes it's red and sometimes it's sore, and often I don't want to put makeup on because it doesn't make my skin feel good. But if I see a photo of myself or a video of myself where I've not got makeup on and I have a red sore face, then I give myself a really hard time for it afterwards, as if I've not got enough going on with the fact that I've got a sore red face. So I've told myself a story that actually I can't jump on and do a live unless I've got a full face of makeup on. But for that to happen, I would either need to do makeup in the mornings and just always have a made up face for when, inspiration hits me, or I would need to decide I wanted to do a live, go and put makeup on, and then come back. And for me, that doesn't work because I love spontaneity. I love to be sort of spur of the moment and just be able to do a live in that moment without having to have any kind of setup around me that would maybe limit what I wanted to say. So obviously that doesn't work. So what do? Do I just not do the lives? And I mean, actually that is what I've been doing. So I gave myself permission to do a live in my stories, and not a live in my stories. Yeah, just stories. Sorry, hands-free stories. I don't know what you call them. Where I talked to my followers and I actually told them this whole story about my rosacea, about how it limits me, about how I tell myself all these unhelpful stories, and then how I give myself a hard time afterwards. And guess what? The world kept on spinning, and I had done the thing that was the worst thing I could ever imagine doing. And actually, it wasn't the worst thing. It was totally fine, and I will definitely do it again. Now I've given myself permission to do that. I don't have just one set option, which is you must have some makeup on before you can do this. I've now got a couple of different options about how I go about doing it. And that feels amazing. So here's your challenge for this week. And it's not a challenge, it's just a prompt. What can you, well, first of all, take a bit of paper and a pen and write down a few tasks or activities that you've been putting off for whatever reason. Now, I don't want these reasons to be I should be doing, because it's not about that. It's about the things that you want to do. What would you like to do if only you fill in the blanks? So for me, it was I would like to do more stories, showing up more on stories in video. If only I didn't have a red sore face, or if only I had makeup on. So you fill in your own blanks, and then have a think about what permissions you need to give yourself for that task to actually happen next week. So it could be that you want to rewrite a page of your website, and you've got the same scenario as I do, which is it has to be the best. You have to find the best words and the best way to say them. And so you're not writing it because you can't find the best. So what permission can you give yourself? Is it, instead of trying to do a whole page, I give myself permission to do half of it on one day and half on another? Or is the permission, I give myself permission to do the best I can right now and come back to it in 2 weeks' time with fresh eyes and change it if it needs changed? Maybe you want to give yourself permission to do more lives or to be more visible online. What permission can you give yourself then? I give myself permission to do one a week. If you've not been doing any a week, one a week is great. I give myself permission to accept that it's going to be awkward and uncomfortable when I speak to my client who I want to get more work from, or to follow up on a lead that I've had. I give myself permission to do some preparation work before the call so that I don't feel nervous and anxious and desperate. So there's so many different layers and levels of permission that you can give yourself, where you accept that the task is something you want to do but feels heavy for whatever reason. So what permission can you give yourself for that task to be lighter, for that task to be achievable? And here's what's amazing about that. Once you've done it, you will get a little buzz from having done it. It's one less thing that you're not going to feel like, oh, there's another thing I didn't do. You're going to feel good, and you're probably going to want to do it again. And you will do it again, and you'll give yourself permissions on all of those new options. And from doing the activity, you will build your confidence. You can't wait until you're confident first because it just doesn't work like that. Confidence comes from action, where you've done the thing, you've brushed off all of the shoulds, you've pulled yourself out of the mindsets, and you've got yourself on the path where you've done the thing. So I put it to you that you can have permission to do whatever the task or activity is that's going to make you feel good next week, and sit with it, work out what permission that is, and then follow through. And please let me know what you did and how you did it and how you're feeling afterwards, because as I said it so many times in the cinema, this isn't about me, this is about you. I love joining forces with you so that we can go on this journey of business, of running our business online together. And that means sharing in the good stuff, sharing in the challenging stuff, and sharing in everything else as well. So please share with me how you're getting on with this week's episode. I now give you permission to go and have a cup of tea or get back to work, whichever is feeling better for you this afternoon. So thank you so much for watching. As always, my details are in the comments for you to follow me online on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, everywhere else, and for you to sign up to my mailing list, where I send out a weekly email that gives you loads of insight and tips and tools and resources, as well as a bit of chat. So please do sign up. It would be amazing to have you on the inside. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye bye.